friends, and welcome back to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. My name is Crystal and I am super excited that you are all here today. Today, I am embarking on a new project where I will be putting together a vacation traveler's notebook album for my parents. So my parents took a trip to Sedona, Arizona back in September last year. And one of the things that I really enjoy doing is creating mini albums for my family to give them as gifts. So my parents' anniversary is coming up in about a week, and I'm hoping to get this album done and wrapped up and able where I'm able to give it to them for their anniversary. So it was perfect timing that Feed Your Craft's release for this month was travel themed. So what I've decided to do to make this really kind of a fun project and to challenge myself is to use primarily the Traveler's Notebook papers that came out, as well as the tourist mode travel kit that came out from Feed Your Craft. So both of those are in the shop right now. I am going to be using primarily those couple of sets in order to create this album. Now, one of the benefits of the Feed Your Craft kits is that when you purchase them, you also get the digital files. So a lot of what I will be doing here will start digitally. So all of these videos for this album's processes will start on the computer, so I can show you guys how I'm altering some of the different pieces in order to create the pages that we will be putting together. And then the second part of it will be actually assembling those pages into the book. So today we are going to get started with the cover page, so the inside cover page, as well as the first 3 spreads in this book. So let's go over to the computer so I can show you guys what I altered before coming over here, and then we'll come back and put those pages together. Okay, friends, so before we get into assembling the physical book or the physical spreads that we'll be working with today, I first wanted to come on to Photoshop here to show you how I created my own traveler's notebook pages using different elements from the digital Feed Your Craft tourist mode kit. So I'm actually going to be using both the kit that came out, the tourist mode kit, the stamp set that went with the kit, but then also there were 2 sets of traveler's notebook papers that were released as well, and I'm also going to be using the digital versions of both of those packs. So let's get started. So for today, I'm going to take you through the cover page and the first 3 spreads. So the cover page is going to end up looking like this. And what I did is I used a photo, which I'm going to show you how I took the photo and cloned the sky to make it all blend together. I used a digital stamp and then I just used a text box. So let me show you how I did this one. So the photo was this one right here, which I believe was a panoramic photo. So the subjects of my photo, which are my parents and my aunt and uncle, were very small and in the center here. So when I cropped this photo to fit into a traveler's notebook, which is 8 1/4 tall by 4 1/4 wide, and I always do 300 pixels per inch, when I cropped this to fit them into the picture, so I fit them in and then I wanted them to go at the bottom center. When I did that, I am left with this large white space at the top, right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my color picker tool. This will work because the sky is pretty much all one color and there's no clouds or anything in it. So I'm just going to pick up that color from the sky, grab my paint bucket tool, and paint that white portion up at the top. Now I've got this line that kind of separates those 2 sections. So what I'll do is grab my clone tool and I'm just going to grab a little section here at the top, and nope, that did not work. So let's grab one actually up in the painted section, and we are going to just kind of almost erase that line. So what we're doing is we're taking the portion from up here at the top and we're just cloning it down below. Now everything looks like it blends in. It looks great. So next I just need to add my title. So I'm going to grab the Happy Exploring Today's Adventure stamp from the stamp set. I will select all of it and copy it and then paste it over onto the picture here. Now I want to see my layer edges. There we go. Just so I can see what I've got selected here. So I'm going to move that up into kind of the middle of the sky. I'm going to hit Control T for transform in order to make this element a bit larger. Hit enter and it's going to clear it all up and bring it into focus. Then I can grab my text tool and I just want to use white text here so that it stands out on that background. And I'm going to type in my title and my dates. And that's just an example for you guys. So then once I have all of this ready to go, I can either print it just like this, or I can merge all those layers together and copy this and copy it and paste it over onto a larger canvas where I can figure out where I want it to go on the page and print it out just like that. So that is my cover page. Basically, all I'm going to do is print that out and stick it into the book. I might put, maybe a puffy sticker or something on it to give it some dimension, but that's pretty much going to be it for that one. Next, let's move on to the first full spread. So the full spread I have here today is going to end up looking very much like this. The paper on the left-hand side was just a traveler's notebook paper from one of those kits in Future Craft. It's called Travel Notes. So there's a Travel Notes that is colorful, and there's a Travel Notes that is black and white. I'm using both of them because, they both have a place in my album, I think. So that one I'm just going to literally print out like that. I'm thinking I might add some stamps into the lines here or something cool like that. Maybe some tiny word stickers, but something in those lines that I will do once I have this printed off. Now the page that will go next to it is going to use a couple of stamp sets and a journaling card that I will alter. To make the page, I created a new canvas and sized it at the Traveler's Notebook size, so 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, 300 pixels per inch, and created that. Then I took this vacation stamp, I copied that and pasted it over onto my page, moved it up to the top, and then I'm just going to size it up quite a bit bigger so that it takes up a good portion of the top of this page. Then I'll just make sure that we're good and centered, and now that one is good. Next, I'm going to use this Go See Do as a subtitle. So I'm going to copy it, paste it, put it over onto my page, and then I might make this just a tiny bit bigger so it doesn't get lost. But I also want the feature to be on vacation. So then we'll just make sure we're centered. I might move it up a little bit, and then that one is good. So that is that. Before I add the journaling portion onto this page, the next thing I want to do is get my pictures positioned on here so I know how much space I'm working with. Now I chose to use 3 photos on this page. The first one was a narrow but long photo, so I thought that that would make a really good base or shelf to put my smaller 2 photos on top of. This photo right here is cropped at 4 inches wide by 2 inches tall. So I did that so that I didn't want it to go all the way to the edge. I wanted there to be some white space on, where did that go? I want there to be some white space on my actual page here. So let's just put that one on there. That might be too far up. We'll find out later. Then my other 2 photos are the exact same size. They're a little bit weird because I wanted some white space in between them. So they are 1.9 inches wide, so just under 2 inches wide, by 2.5 inches tall. So I'm going to do the same thing, copy and paste those onto the page. I will just go ahead and position them on here, and then we can grab all 3 of the photos to get those situated later. So I just want to adjust these to give them that little bit of white space. Then we'll grab all 3 of them and move them down and center them just a little bit better there. Okay, actually I might put you up just a tiny bit more. Okay, let's say that's good right there. So those are my photos that are now situated onto this page. So last but not least, I want to create a journaling spot at the bottom, and I really liked not only the color of this card, but also that there are these boxes pre-made, and there's just a lot of goodness to it. So I'm going to take my marquee tool and I'm going to select around the box and the titles. Then I'm going to hit the right mouse button and click layer via, I guess copy is fine. For this, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to copy that layer that I just made, and then we're going to paste it over here onto my page. And this looks pretty good scale wise down here. So let's just get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. So now what I want to do is to make this box longer. I want it to take up a larger portion of the base there. So I am going to grab my marquee tool, make sure that layer is selected, and then I'm just going to grab a large portion of the box, right click, and we're going to layer via copy. Now this time that is important to copy it so that when we move it, we still have that bottom one underneath. So I am going to move this until I get it positioned where I want it to go. Then I'm going to grab both of those journal box layers, and we're going to merge them together. So now I am going to zoom in here because I want to do some erasing and some repositioning. So I'm going to grab my eraser, still make sure that this is selected. I need to reduce the size of my eraser so that I can just grab out these little pieces in these boxes. I want to, erase just the titles, not the box itself. Now, this is not talking about flying at all, so we don't need that. And then up here, I don't need this either. So let me just erase this all like that. But I do want the date and the destination titles. However, I want to move them. So I'm going to marquee tool. I will grab, or I'll not grab, but draw a box around the date first. And then I'm going to layer via cut this time because I don't want this to stay here. I just want to move it. And I'm going to move it into this bottom box here. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead, click those layers and merge them together. Now we're going to do the same thing for destination. So let's grab that word. We are going to layer via cut, grab our move tool, and we will move the destination down into this box where it's in line, and then we'll merge those layers together. Now last thing I want to do is get rid of these yellow lines. I forgot that I don't really need those either when I was erasing earlier. So let's get rid of those. And then we can go ahead and fit this back on the screen. And now this is pretty much done. I might just move it up a tad. So let's center it and let's move it up a little bit closer to that photo. And I'd say that looks pretty good. So now these photos I'm going to print out on actual photo paper. And then what I will do is I'm going to take the rest of these pieces and merge them together, which I guess I can just say merge visible, right? And then this I'm going to print out on plain white cardstock. So from there, I can assemble this into the book. So that is our first spread. For the second one, I'm going to be using a full page photo, and then again I'm going to make my own background paper where I will hold a 3x3 photo that will flip up and have another 3x3 photo and a 3x3 filler card underneath. So the filler card is this one right here. All I did was I took the 4x6 card from the tourist mode kit and I cropped it to 3x3. That was pretty easy. For the pattern paper, I'm actually going to use the stripe journaling card, and then I also have a card from the Happy Little Moments digital kit as well that I thought would go really nicely in this in with these products. So what I'm going to do is open up a new canvas, again, 4 1/4, 8 1/4. Oops, did I hit cancel? 4 1/4, 8 1/4, 300 pixels per inch. Where are you at? There you are. And create. Then I'm going to grab this stripe. We're going to copy the whole thing and paste it on here. And then I'm just going to move this up to the top and then paste another one. Move this to where it's in line. And I'm also going to just budge it up a little bit so that it covers the crop line, because I don't really want that to show. And we'll do this one more time to the bottom. I'm going to nudge it up a little bit. This looks super good. So we're just going to merge all of the layers together. So now we've got just that background paper. Next, I'm going to take the so I guess this I don't really need anymore. This Happy Little Moments card. I took this one and all that I did was grab my eyedropper tool, pick up a color that I wanted to use on this page, because I wanted to change the colors to match the stripe underneath. And then I just recolored the circles, right? So pretty easy. Let me do another one, and then I'll show you just what it looks like when I had it all done. So we're just I would keep doing that. So I'd change all 5 of them to match the lines in my pattern paper. So what I ended up with was this right here. So then I want to take this and I want to make it a relatively larger journaling size. So if I were to put it on my page right now and resize it down, it doesn't take up a ton of space. Like, there's definitely not enough room to put a 3x3 photo on it. So what I did is I opened up another new canvas. This one I did 4 1/4 because I want it to go edge to edge on the sides. And then I did 5.75 inches tall. Then here I can go ahead and paste that journaling card on, size it down, and put it up at the top where I want it. And then I can just copy this again. Actually, I don't need to copy it again, so scratch that. Then I can just grab my eraser from over here, and we'll size you back up. And I can erase this line down here and then merge those layers together. So now I have a more substantial journaling spot. So I can select all of this, and we don't need you anymore. And we'll paste you directly onto that patterned line page. And then I can either print these as separates or I can merge them all together. And then this is where I'm going to add those photos to, and they will flip up. So I might add some like matte, like a a pattern paper matte behind the photos to make them stand out from the white background. You know, we'll see when we get to the desk after I get everything printed here. So that is the second spread in this series, or, you know, in today's work. So one more we're going to look at is a layer template that I made for myself. So for this one, I chose to use a pattern paper from my stash on the left-hand side. I like to use these as an opportunity to use up some of my pattern papers. And then I had 6 photos that I wanted to put into the page to the right. Now, in the black and white traveler's notebook size pages for travel notes, there is this one that's got these 3 boxes. And I thought, I wonder if I could just make it into 6 boxes instead. So that is what I did. To create my boxes, I went over and I picked my rectangle tool. Then, before I did that, actually, I went and I grabbed the color of the outlines because I liked the color that they were. Then I went to my rectangle tool. I made my fill the white color, and then I made my outline the gray, and I made these at 10 pixels wide. So they're 10 pixels wide, the lines are. Then if I just click on the page, I can put in my own measurements. Now, these boxes are going to be 10 pixels wide. So they're 10 pixels wide, the lines are. Then if I just click on the page, I can put in my own measurements. Now, these boxes are going to be Gosh, you know what? I don't remember. Let's go find out because I can't remember. Okay, so these are going to be 1.5 inches wide by 2 1/8 tall. So let's do that. So we'll make our rectangle. We're going to say 1.5 inches wide by 2.125 inches tall. Okay, so now we can take that square and move it onto the rectangle below it. And I'm just going to use this as an example of how to get your rectangles lined up properly. So I'm just going to make, I am going to make 6 of these. So let's position this one on here. Now I don't really like how far apart they are, so I will end up putting them closer together, probably like that. I wonder if I can copy and paste. I can copy and paste them. So I'm going to do that. Again, we're just going to make sure everything lines up with each other. We'll add one here. Just going to make sure it's in line with the rectangle below it. Okay, so that will be my 6 rectangles. So now I am going to hide all 6 of them. And then I'm going to take my eraser tool, make sure I've got my background selected, and I can erase these lines for the boxes underneath. So then when I reveal those rectangles again, you're just going to see the 6 of them. So let's just get rid of all these lines because we don't need them. Oops. Darn it. All right, I got ahead of myself there. Okay. So there's that and that. Okay. So now I can go ahead and reveal all of these rectangles back, and they look super awesome. So then the last thing I want to do before I put photos in here is I want to get rid of this morning, afternoon, night, because that's not, again, what this page is really about. So I'm going to take that eraser, I'm going to reduce the size down, and then I'm just going to erase those words straight out of here. Now you do have to be like super careful as you get close to the line. You can totally get all of it. Actually, that looks like I'm missing. There we go. It just takes a little bit of finesse, but you can do it for the G that's really close to the line. And then what I figure I'll do here when I get this printed off is I will use my physical stamp set to add some kind of sentiment into this box. Yep, so that is the plan here. All right. So let's just call that good. All right, so let's put this back on the screen. So now I've got this paper. So what I did with this paper then is I had my 6 photos. Let me just open one up to show you. And I used those boxes to be my clipping masks. So I'm going to just click on one of them, put my photo in there and say create clipping mask, and that will put it directly in that box. Then I can hit the Control T for transform, and I can just resize this photo until it fits into the box and hit enter, and now we're in there. So once I have the photos all in, for me, I'm going to print this page right here exactly like this on plain white cardstock, and then the photos I'm going to print on photo paper. So to do that, I am going to take the 2 layers over in my layers panel. So the rectangle that it's clipped to and the photo itself, I will merge those layers together, and then I can take that whole shape and I can copy it and paste it onto another page for me to print out. And I will just do that for all 6 of them. And again, this is where I was talking about, you could take, let me go back to my title. You could take your title page merge all of your layers together and then copy that one and paste it as well. So I can paste, I can print this one and then my 6 photos, and then I have room maybe for my 3x3s down here. So I can just get a bunch of photos all on one page and not have a lot of waste. Okay, so I believe that is it for these first 3 spreads and the title page. So what I'm going to do is get everything printed off, and then I will meet you back over at my desk to start getting this thing assembled. All right, you guys, so we are back at my desk and ready to get this thing assembled. So I'm going to grab out the pages that I am working on here, and we're going to start with the cover page. This one is super simple. I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back of it. Now I'm using the scrapbook.com score tape. I have both the 1/4 inch and the 1/8 inch score tapes. I really like them, especially when working in projects like this where I'm taping in photos and papers into a notebook. I just feel like it holds really well. So I know, some people are super fans of score tape and some people hate score tape, but for me, I like it because I feel like it makes things really secure, even though it is sometimes a pain and it takes longer to, get things taped in, but that's okay. So once I had the tape all on there, I adhered it onto the front page. Now, when I'm working in a traveler's notebook and taping papers and photos in, I do leave like the tiniest sliver between my photo and the spine. So there's like a little teeny bit of just the paper. And that is to help the pages turn better and also to not put too much strain on the spine by bulking it up too much. So that is definitely a trick for you guys. So once I had it taped in there, the only other thing I did was pulled a puffy sticker from the sticker sheet. It was that little red arrow, and put it right above the stamp, which worked out perfectly. So then we're going to jump right into this very first full page spread. So I've got that striped paper, which was from the Travel Notes Traveler's Notebook Papers. That was a release from Featurecraft. And then I've got the page that I created myself on the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and tape on my photos first, get all of that adhered down so that, the main pieces are where they're going to be. Then I am going to go through my embellishments and find just something to put on that page just to give it a little bit more dimension or texture on the page. I find this little banner that says favorite spot, and I like how the yellow plays off the blues because there's so much blue on that side. I just thought it looked really nice, so that's what I'm going to go with. Then I grabbed 3 of the stamps off of the tourist mode stamp set. They say, one of them says memories, one says go see do, and one of them says travel log. And it just so happened that they all 3 fit perfectly in each of those lines when you put them side by side. So what I will do for this page is to stamp all 3 of those sentiments in each of the lines, and I do vary it so it's not the same order every time. It's alternated, and I really like how that turns out. It looks super cool. I will debate putting a puffy sticker on this page and ultimately decide to just leave it be and put it into the book. So for these next couple of pages, I am just going to completely skip over my adding score tape and putting it in the book and trimming off the edges, just because I figure you guys saw the very first one and you don't need to keep seeing that. So we're going to just skip it. There it is, done, and let's move on to the next page. So this page has the full page photo on the left side and then the paper that I created on the right side in addition to the flip. So first I'm going to create this flip piece. To do that, I grab a piece of spare, this is just regular copy paper, and I'm going to cut a strip to 3 inches wide by 2 inches, well, I guess it's a 2x3, 2 inches wide, 2 inches tall by 3 inches wide. Holy cow, there we go. Then I'm going to fold that piece of paper in half. And then this is going to become the mechanism for my flip. So I'm going to add some adhesive to one side of the inner fold and then put my photo down on that. Then to the upper one, I'm going to add the flip up portion. So now when this is closed, that's what's going to be, when you flip up, that's what's going to be revealed. Then I can fold that down and add my third photo or my third element to the top portion. And that's really it. So then I can just add adhesive to the back side of the bottom photo and stick this into my book. So it's just an easy way to make a flip up where you don't have to use washi if you don't want to. And to me, it's just a little bit more secure, and I like it that way. Now I decided that the photo blended in too much to the background. So I went through my stash and found this, it's yellowish. It's like a yellowish pattern paper. And I'm just going to create a mat around my photo just to help it kind of come off that page more. But also I didn't want to add in any new colors. I thought about doing black behind that photo, and I'm glad I chose the yellow. I think it looks nice. Next, I went through that embellishment pile again and pulled out a couple that I liked that I could just kind of play around with and figure out which groupings I liked the best. So this is ultimately what I go with right here. I have the little stamp piece that I think it says captured or captured moments or captured something. And then I put the camera next to it. I love that little camera. It's so cute. So I was glad to be able to use it. And a banner that is layered inside of that says cool stuff. Then I adhered down the photo that flips up, and I found a blue label that just plays off all the other blues in the page. And I figure that might be a really good place for them to write, for my mom to write either the date that they went to this game or the location or the stadium, or just a little place to put some added notes about this. So this was, my parents are season ticket holders for the Lions, which is a Michigan football team. And because they are season ticket holders, they get, I think, one or two away games a year. So they went to the game in Arizona with my aunt and uncle last year as their away game for the year. So that is what brought them to Arizona. But ultimately, my parents have always wanted to visit Sedona. So it just gave them a reason to go to Arizona and then to go and visit Sedona on a couple other days before returning home. So the tab that you saw me put on that photo was from a sticker sheet by Illustrated Faith. Now, I happen to know that at least I cannot find them anywhere anymore. I've tried to link them below, but they do have cardstock versions. So they're not stickers in between. They're just cardstock, but that would work just as well. Or, you can use tab punches or really anything that you've got. I just have a whole bunch of those from when they went on clearance, and I stocked up on them. So anyway, that once I had that done, that really finished up the page. So I got it all taped in and ready to go. And then we're moving on to this third and final spread. So for this one, this is the one where I created my own layer template and put photos in there. I did print the photos separate from the page. So all I had to do was trim them out and then just add them into those boxes, and they were perfectly sized. Then I had a couple of papers that I was debating between. So I narrowed it down to 2 and then pulled out a bunch of embellishments to figure out, how I wanted to, or what kind of clusters I wanted to create for this page. And then used that to help me make my final decision on which paper to use, which ultimately I go with the stars. I'm so glad I did because, I don't know, they're just so cool. I love that star paper. It's from Freckled Fawn. I have been a Freckled Fawn subscriber for a while, so I have, just for their papers, just for their Traveler's Notebook papers. So I do have a stash of papers like this that I can go through when I'm creating these albums, and it makes it really fun. So I have the photos adhered in. I'm deciding on the papers and the clusters. Another thing that I did was to use that same stamp from earlier that says memories, and I stamped that up in the section underneath the word highlights. Now before there was something else was there. I don't remember. I think it was something to do with flying maybe, or it was something that just didn't really go with this page. So I erased that out, and then that allowed me to just change that up. So I loved that incredible experience banner, loved it, and I just really wanted to find a way to use it. So at first I was trying to layer it in the pattern paper side, and then I placed it on top of the photos at the top of that page, and it just, I don't know, it just went perfect. I love it. So that is where that's going to go. Here's where I made the decision to just keep the star paper, and then I decided to pull out the red puffy phrase sticker. I can't remember what it says right now, but maybe it'll come to me. But I loved that it pulled the red over onto the left side. So now we've got blue because there's like the blue sky, and the building has like a blue tint to it. And then the blue, all the red of the uniforms, and then we've got the blue and the red on the opposite side. And then I did choose a little green asterisk as well, just to pull in the greens because there's lots of grass and stuff like that. So I just feel like it helped to repeat the colors on both sides of the page. So I will get that adhered down and everything placed. I also super love the block letter phrases. So like there's epic, and then there's one other one, I think it says wonder, and I just love those. Those are my favorite for sure out of this embellishment pack. So now I will go ahead and get this one adhered in, and then that will finish these spreads up for today. So we'll slow back down and close you guys out. All right, friends, so that finishes up these spreads for today, and I super love the way that they came out. I love this Feature Craft kit. I love all the colors and yet all the white space. I just think it is so fabulous, just so clean and beautiful. I hope that you guys enjoyed following along, and if you did, give this video a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my future crafty videos. Also, any of the products or the links that I mentioned throughout the course of this video, I will put in that description box down below. I will be back again on Monday with my next story album project, and then again, we'll be working in this traveler's notebook again next week on Saturday. I'm just going to keep doing some Saturday videos until we get the whole thing filled up. So you guys will see this whole album come together over the course of the month. Alrighty, you guys. So until next time, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye now.